The Rochester Embayment Area of Concern is one of 43 Areas of Concern, or AOCs, located throughout the U.S. and Canadian Great Lakes Basin. It consists of an approximately 35 square mile embayment along the south shore of Lake Ontario and a 6-mile reach of the lower Genesee River, situated within the city of Rochester and across several townships in Monroe County, New York. The area was designated as an AOC in 1987 due to the significant ecological degradation that had occurred since the industrialization of Rochester and associated development and land use changes in the surrounding area throughout the 19th and 20th centuries. Following the Area of Concern designation, federal, state, and local agencies worked closely with the surrounding community to identify beneficial use impairments, or BUIs, that existed in the Area of Concern.
When the AOC was listed in 1987, it was a significant change than what it had been prior to that. Since before 1970, there weren't really any environmental regulations or cleanup efforts that really had been in place yet. So what we were seeing were industrial waste going directly into the water, municipal wastewater being discharged directly into the river and into the lake, which caused a lot of contamination to the waters there. When we got listed in 1987, it was for all 14 beneficial use impairments. We are one of the few, if only, AOCs in the program that got listed with all 14. So that was saying a lot. This was a significant problem.
Contaminants of concern included, but were not limited to, PCBs, Mirex, dioxins, mercury, bacteria, and nutrients like phosphorus that contributed to excessive algae growth. A remedial action plan was developed in partnership with local stakeholders to identify the causes of each BUI, develop assessment criteria, and define the actions needed to achieve those endpoints. Remedial work in the Rochester Embayment Area of Concern included, amongst other things, implementation of a combined sewer overflow abatement program to mitigate untreated wastewater discharges, the remediation of contaminated sediment in the lower Genesee River associated with the Eastman Kodak Business Park, and the cleanup of 6 former manufactured gas plant sites from which chemical contaminants were migrating into the river.
My role at DEC is an environmental engineer, and I served as the project manager for the Kodak Environmental Response Trust. And part of that scope of work included the corrective actions along the lower Genesee River. This work is important to me. I thrive on the connection with nature and with people, so it was a natural fit for me. The lower Genesee corrective action was designed to address heavy metals, primarily silver, in sediment, wetland, and floodplain soils. Several years and phases of investigation included water, sediment, and biota studies to support the selection of silver as the primary contaminant of concern. Silver is toxic at relatively low concentrations to ethnic communities, and adverse effects may include stunted growth and/or increased mortality.
30 years after the Area of Concern was first designated, the final restorative actions necessary to remove the remaining BUIs were completed. These included a series of 8 habitat restoration projects, the most significant of which were implemented in and around the Braddock Bay Wildlife Management Area.
I'm a wildlife biologist for the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, Region 8, Bureau of Wildlife. Historically, Braddock Bay was protected from wave action by a natural barrier beach across the mouth of the bay. However, by the early 1900s, the barrier beach had disappeared, and as a result, erosion has caused the loss of over 100 acres of emergent marsh wetland from the bay. In addition, without the barrier beach, a lot of sand and other sediment has been deposited in the bay and taken out of the Lake Ontario littoral system. The Braddock Bay Restoration Project was a huge undertaking with multiple components and phases. The first phase of the project was the construction of potholes and channels within the existing emergent marsh. Lake Ontario water level regulation resulted in the loss of natural fluctuation for many years, and as a result, many of the Lake Ontario wetlands in part have turned into more monotypic, dense stands of invasive cattail. So the potholes serve to increase vegetative diversity as well as increase the interspersion of open water and vegetation, improving habitat for many wetland wildlife species such as waterfowl and marsh nesting birds. In addition, the channels that were created pathways for native fish species like northern pike to reach spawning areas like sedge meadows. Other aspects of the project at this phase included sedge meadow restoration actions, including control of invasive cattail and strategic construction of habitat mounds to improve sedge meadow habitat. In addition, some Phragmites control was done, native plantings were done, and there was also a part of the project that actually created 2 acres of new emergent marsh habitat. The other big part of the project was the creation of the barrier beach in the mouth of the bay. This was a big project. The spine of the barrier beach was about 1,700 feet long. The project created about 2.5 acres of new beach habitat. The barrier beach serves to protect the remaining emergent marsh from erosion. It allows sand to stay within the littoral system, and it also lowered the energy in the bay, which has allowed the expansion of submerged aquatic vegetation. So all of these things have helped to increase the resiliency of the Braddock Bay ecosystem.
After decades of work involving numerous agencies and partners, and under the guidance of the local AOC Advisory Committee, conditions in the AOC have markedly improved for fish, wildlife, local residents, and visitors.
Long-term success can only happen when all of the key partners work together, and you have to really identify who those key partners are. It's your governmental agencies, it's just general community, right? The people around that come here and have important say. It's the businesses around. So working together and coming up with a solution as a whole, it's been a huge success. The second big success for the area of concern, I think, is just cleaner water in general. We used to have lots of discharges in the past of untreated wastewater going directly into our waters. With the combined sewer overflow abatement program, that has now changed. We don't have those discharges of millions and millions and millions of gallons of untreated sewage going into the water. Now we have clean, fresh water you can go and fish in and recreate in. It's wonderful. The third success of the AOC is the fish and wildlife populations. We have seen an increase in both of those things. In 2021, it was the first time we were able to find a spawning female lake sturgeon in decades. It's a huge accomplishment, and it wouldn't be here if the AOC did not help with that.
It's been really fun to see the use of the barrier beach by the variety of shorebirds. I've also observed waterfowl and marsh birds in the restored channel and pothole areas. In the last couple years, I've heard least bitterns calling in the Braddock Bay wetlands, which was really cool. And I've also seen a lot of ducks, including lots of mallards, using the sheltered area behind the barrier beach as habitat.
It feels amazing to have made such progress on this type of site. When I joined DEC, this was a vision, and with the help of DEC and the opportunity that they've provided me and our team, we were able to achieve goals beyond my expectations and for the benefit of the communities, not only in New York State, but across the Great Lakes region.
The progress made over the last several decades has met the criteria to remove the embayment from the list of AOCs. This is the second AOC to be delisted in New York State, preceded by the Oswego River nearly 2 decades earlier. This work would not have been possible without the dedication and participation of numerous partners and substantial funding provided at the federal, state, and local level, including the influx of federal funding provided since 2010 under the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative.
While the delisting seems like it's an end, it really is just a beginning. It's like the next chapter. So instead of just focusing on the very small portion of the river and the one area of the lake, we can look at the watershed as a whole, right? So the things leading to it, which also include these areas. So this is not the end. We have to figure out how to maintain what we have, improve it. There's always new things coming at us that we need to work on. So I'm very much looking forward to bringing this wider, broader vision. There's also lots of funding out there for some of these things, such as watersheds, and I look forward to working with all the different partners that can help with that.